So if you're like me, you like to do your own guitar setup work, and one of the big things that you want to do is possibly adjust your action down a little bit, and that involves sanding or filing down the bottom of the saddle. There are rigs that you can get. They're quite expensive with rollers, and if you're in the business doing it, by all means, that's a good one. I developed this little one. It works just super, and it'll only cost you under 10 bucks, even if you have to go out and buy some of the parts. So let's look at them. We have a couple of pieces of 3/4 inch aluminum angle. You can get 3 feet of this for about 7 bucks. Make 3 of them. We have some 1/4 inch bolts. We have 1/4 inch washers. We have these 1/4 inch, they're actually designed to go over a piece of wire cable and squeeze it. I use them as a spacer for the wing nuts. And of course we have a couple of wing nuts. So anyway, I'm going to assemble this and show you exactly how it looks when it's put together. So here we have the unit assembled, and it's the 2 pieces of aluminum back to back. The 1/4 inch bolts going through the 2 holes, which are drilled with the 2 pieces held together with the clamps and make sure that they line up. We have these 2 little spacers that I use. This is just to give the wing nuts a little bit of a space so you can turn them so it doesn't hit the bottom. Another washer, and then we have the wing nuts. What I have here is a floor tile. Very, very smooth, very flat. And this will work perfectly for not only setting up the distance of the amount that you're going to take off the saddle, but as well get it an exact flat surface that you want when it goes into the bridge. So there's absolutely no wiggle. It's dead flat. It's 90 degrees to the saddle, which is where you want it. So here I have a standard tusk saddle. If I put this down in the slot right now, it'll fall down to the bottom. And what I'm going to do is just tighten these up so they're just snug. I'm not going to push down on it. I'm not going to tighten them tight. I just want them snug to hold that saddle in place. There. There's the saddle underneath. So now with it loose like that, I can take a popsicle stick and I can push the saddle down so it's dead flat against this. These are lying flat, the saddle is lying flat, and all I have to do now is snug these wing nuts up. You might have to move it to the edge just to do it, just to allow the wing nuts room. And there we have the saddle, absolutely flat against these 2 pieces of aluminum angle iron. If you run it over top, it's dead flat. So now we want to take some off the saddle, and remember to take your action down at the 12th fret. Whatever you take off the saddle will be represented at the 12th fret as 1/2. So I'm going to take 1 millimeter off the saddle, which means at the 12th fret it's going to drop the action 1/2 millimeter, which is where I want it. It's currently sitting at 2.5 on the low E and 2.25 on the high E. I want to bring it down to 2.0 on the low E, and I want it down to 1.75 on the high E. So I'm going to take 1 millimeter off the saddle. So to get exactly 1 millimeter off the saddle, everybody has these laying around. These are brand new razor knife blades. They just so happen to be exactly 1/2 a millimeter each. So when you put 2 together, wipe them down, you can see that they're exactly 1 millimeter in thickness. So what do I do with those? I'll put them down on the edge of my flat. I'll just loosen these off just enough that the saddle will move. I'll hold that dead flat against the razor knives, and then with my popsicle stick I will push the saddle down so it's sitting flush onto the floor tile. When I do that, I snug these up. Take it off, and lo and behold, I now have exactly 1 millimeter, perfectly 1 millimeter of saddle that's protruding beyond the aluminum angle irons. The saddle is in there tight. I've got these snugged up as best I can. And now what you'll do is just simply take sandpaper. You'll put the sandpaper down, 220. Very fine 220. Put it down. Put your saddle down. Use it just against the edge of the floor tile so the wing nuts don't, and sand away. And what you do, this way you're sanding absolutely perfect. When it gets down to 1 millimeter off, it'll come up against the bottom of these. And unless you want to just sand the heck out of the aluminum, which you don't, you're going to have an extremely flat when you're done, it'll be exactly 1 millimeter off. This thing works just super. Those little washers are in there. All they're doing is just providing a little bit of a gap so it doesn't skew these out of being square. So that's it. Sand away.